What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be breaking down a Sabrina Carpenter Espresso type beat that I made, showing you how to produce a production in a similar style to this song. If you're watching this, you're definitely probably curious about how to make the production and certain sounds that you should use, so I highly recommend that you watch this video to the end to make sure that you do not miss any valuable information. And of course, if you are new to this channel, by the way, make sure you smash that subscribe button, as it's the best way to support the channel. But let's not waste any more time, and let's jump into Logic and let's break down this production that I made in the style of Sabrina Carpenter Espresso. Okay, so the best thing I can do first is give you a little tickle of the production that I've made from the start. We'll just play this little section here just so you can get an idea, and we'll go from there. As you can hear, it shares a ridiculous amount of characteristics which are similar to Sabrina Carpenter. I spent a lot of time trying to find some sounds that you'd be able to use. This is a mixture of native instruments, Logic Pro X sound library, but you will get the idea of the certain sounds you need to look for when doing this production. Now, to always make these breakdowns easy for you so you can get the best understanding of how I've built up this production, everything is in the order that it was added, so you can get the best idea of how the track was built up. There's also going to be some cool new Logic features that I'm going to be showing you in this video as well, so if you're a Logic user, make sure you stick around to the end, because I've got something really cool to show you if you didn't know already. So today I actually started with the guitar, because the guitar was one of them things which is very prominent in the song and is driving the rhythm section. So the first thing I did was I went into Logic and I got my guitar out and I recorded in this chord progression. It's D-7, E-7, and this is what it sounded like. Now, something that's reassuring to you if you're not a guitar player, I actually did about 3 or 4 takes before I settled on one that I was happy with. I also chose the best bits. Something I don't think that's said enough: if you're a beginner producer, you do not have to play instruments perfectly if you're recording them in. I double tracked this and I chose the best bits to make sure this lined up properly. So I just wanted to say that, because I don't think enough tutorials actually say that. When you hear the finished product, you don't normally always see everything that goes into it. So mentioning that, I hope, helped. So all we're doing for the actual sound electric guitar is I did actually put it into Guitar Rig 7 and just chose an amp, which is very sort of like poppy and clean. And then I bounced it out, which gave me more control over the actual sound of the guitar from an audio point of view, and I could quantize it more. And then I've just added the chorus effect just to put it out to the sides of the mix, and just a little bit of EQing to enhance certain frequencies that I liked and didn't like so much about the guitar. Now we move on to actually building up the production and really stamping down the chords. So the first thing I've done is add electric piano, and we're actually using the Scarby 1, which is a Contact native instruments, but this is just an electric piano. So if you're, again, a Logic user or you do not have this, it's basically just an electric piano that is playing, and I've doubled up on the octaves of the chords, literally just putting down the chords. I like to say putting the authoritative stamp on. Now, one little thing that I'll show you which gave this really nice modulated sound is I actually put a scanner vibrato on. This makes that really nice sort of like vibrato sound. So I'll play you with and without it so you can see what I mean. It just gives it that nice sort of retro vibe that you hear in a Sabrina Carpenter song. So again, it's really great. If you're a Logic user, I highly recommend you check out that plugin. Now we get to the good bit. I wanted to add the bass line next, and today I've actually used the Session Player. Now this is great fun to use. Now I've literally just programmed in a bass line and Logic has got it playing in for me. The only thing you got to do for this is you got to put the chords down. So if you click this button here at the top, you will see there's a section to put chords in. If you put chords in for the song, now easily this is a 2-chord song, so I just duplicated this. But for other songs, if you put the chords down in each of the bars, the bass will play to the chords, which is really cool. So check this out. Better than I could ever play on guitar or play any MIDI. So this is an absolute game changer, and we're just using the vintage soul sound, which you can find in the bass presets in Logic as well if you're a Logic user. So again, this is pretty simple so far building up, but you get the idea. And now the next thing to do was add drums. Now I like to put all my drums into a drum bus just so it's all together. This is the drum beat that I came up with. And this drum kit, if you're a Logic user, you'll be glad to know you can access. It is called Flashback, and it is in the electric drum kit section. The only EQing that I've done is, this is all basically how it comes out. When it comes to the drum bus, I've put in ozone because I like to put this, it's called drum effects bus. It creates this nice spread and a little bit of reverb as well on the end, just to make the drum sound a little bit bigger and fuller in the mix. And then just a little bit of a rise in the high end, just to add a little bit of a glow, a nice little bit of bliss to the drums. So everything so far, basically the production's already making itself. So let's have a listen to this. Now the next section, at this point, it's just adding extra elements. At this point, you can really just go with your initiative and what actually sounds good, unless you want to really just replicate the Sabrina Carpenter beat down to a T. There's a couple of sounds that I wanted to add, which I think sounded really similar, but I think fit really well, because you want to add these different synth ideas, because there's a lot going on in the background of this Sabrina Carpenter beat. Even though it's very repetitive throughout the whole way through, how they keep it interesting is all these little details in the background. So all of these next load is just of synths, is basically little extra details are added. So let's have a listen to these all by themselves and then put them all together. So firstly, we got this one. And this is the hybrid keyed ambient EP. And then I brought it in with this, which is basically the ambient EP again, but with a lot of reverb on basically this time. Using the wrong reverb. And then I added in this next synth idea. Now this is actually Omnisphere this time. And this is the cold virtual analog pad. And then just one more synth idea that we added as well. Another chords again as well. And this time it was the fizzy and clear. If it wants to play, there it is. So all together, I like to call this my atmosphere, which really adds sort of like colour to the whole production and fills in the gaps that were existing so far in the rest of the production that we had built. Now, we weren't actually done with the guitars at this point, because there's a lot more different guitar layers to add. I wanted to create a lot more bounce, really play off the rhythm sections. So, first thing I added is I go into Contact, and anyone who watched the channel before, you know I love to use the electric vintage. The first one we got is this muted pattern. Again, just to bounce off this guitar. You can hear that they're sort of like acting as a counter melody, but they just bounce off each other, and that's what creates this really cool groove. And then on top of that, then we just add some really nice ambient chords. Throw in some stabs. Again, it's really nice bounce that's starting to happen. And then tying it off with just the 70s classic synth bass, which is in Alchemy. I just like to add this to basically everything at the end of the day, because it adds a really nice low-end presence. But again, it's just that final low clarity. And when you put that all in context, this is basically the beat all together. It's really simple to make, which I think a lot of people underestimate when it comes to making a track like this. But again, just putting all the certain orders in, we filled in all of the gaps possible. And when you put it all together, you get this. By the way, if you were wondering how to make this cool little effect at the start, because this actually exists in the actual song. Very simple to do. This is just an automation, so you've got to have your stereo output track in your mix window, and then you've got to have a channel EQ or just any sort of EQ in your output track, and you can just literally automate using a low cut frequency, just like this, in this shape, and it will create this nice little sweeping effect. And when it goes, you get the beat. So there you go, guys. That is how to make a Sabrina Espresso type instrumental. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you smash the subscribe button as the best way to support the channel, and make sure you never miss another video like this. But that's it for today, guys. So thank you for watching, keep making music, and I'll see you in the next video.